know that you can do this. Another feature that I haven't seen live, but LinkedIn has said that this is true in a blog post, is that it will automatically convert to Twitter handles those users who are also on Twitter if you share this on Twitter. So in other words, if I tag Eric in my LinkedIn status update and I say I want to share it on LinkedIn and Twitter, it's going to convert that to @edeckers. Right? I haven't seen that in action, but that's what LinkedIn has said is possible with this new feature. Now, the one that I want to spend a significant amount of time on is profiles, changes to the LinkedIn profile. Right? Who here has noticed a change in your LinkedIn profile over the past few months? Anyone? Have you seen anything change? All right. Well, Jeff Reno, CEO of LinkedIn, has called this one of the biggest changes to a LinkedIn pillar product in the company's history, in the 10 years that LinkedIn has been in existence. And I really think this is true. Profiles have had some subtle changes over the years, but nothing like what we're seeing now. This is a glimpse at a representative new LinkedIn profile. All right? And some of the things you may notice, a larger profile photo. Photos have always been important. In fact, there's a statistic that says that profiles with photos are 7 times more likely to be viewed than those without. So if you don't have a photo, make sure you have one. And today it's important that you make it really good because it's so large, it takes up so much real estate. I really cringed the first time they told me they were doing this. I said, what is that photo going to look like when everyone can see it even larger? You'll also notice more color here. I'll go into some depth on what some of these things mean. But LinkedIn, again, the goal here is more visual interest competing with this image-intensive social media world we live in. All right? Now, what are some of the specifics here? Now, if you look at an entire LinkedIn profile, this is something that I don't expect you to read, but you can see that there's a lot of different things going on here. So I'm going to break it down section by section and talk about what's new on these profiles, what's a little bit different. All right? Let's start at the top. What LinkedIn has done is created sort of a business card for all of its users. It includes the photo, which is much larger. It also includes a glimpse into who you are as a professional, a summary of where you work, a summary of your education. All right? And there's some drop downs in this as well. If you click on the right arrow next to edit profile, it will reveal some other menu items, some other actions you can take. So again, this is top of fold. This is the thing that people will see most often. When I talk about your LinkedIn profile, the most important elements are number 1, your name, which is hard to get wrong, but make sure that you get it right. Number 2, your photo, and then that headline. On mine, you'll see that my headline is marketing and social media strategist / speaker / teacher and trainer / writer. All right, you have complete control over what that says. It could be your job title or it could be something else. That follows you around everywhere you go on LinkedIn. So it's a thing, one of the things people will see most often. So make sure it is truly descriptive of the story you want to tell as a professional. All right. So that's what the new.
One thing on that.
Yes.
I mean, what do you recommend? Your job title, or I mean, what's the best?
It depends on how you what you want to be known for as a professional. I'll tell you why I changed mine. Mine, at the time that I changed it, my title at Asher Agency was account supervisor. All right. So my headline was account supervisor at Asher Agency. And one day the light bulb went off, and I said, I don't know if anyone knows what that means. I don't even know if I know what that means. What's an account supervisor, right? What's Asher Agency? Is that insurance? Are they detectives? What exactly do they do? So I changed it to be something that people couldn't mistake. I think if people read this, then there's no question as to what I do. It also helps for search a little bit. When people are looking for people who do these things, it's a little bump from a search standpoint. So for a lot of people, the title is the right thing to do because they want to be known as a professional who works in their current position. But if you have ambitions to do something different, maybe you don't tie yourself to that title. Maybe that holds you back a little bit. Don't try to be someone you're not, but it's okay to have your somewhat aspirational. So that is the top of the fold piece, the profile. Eric.
I would also recommend that you don't put that you're out of work or seeking a job.
Good point. Good point. Eric, can you elaborate on that? What would you recommend if there's a job seeker on LinkedIn who's in that position and the temptation is, well, I'm going to use that real estate because it's going to help people understand I'm looking for work and maybe we'll find me an opportunity. What should they do instead?
Marketer, or whatever the title is that you had,
yep.
or the job is that you want, put that. So marketer, writer, accountant. Just because you're not getting paid to be an accountant doesn't mean you're no longer an accountant.
Very well said. Yeah, and in the earlier session I said that your profile should be future-facing, work you want to do. So that is okay to say, I have been an accountant, I want to be an accountant, therefore I am Good, very good, very good. All right under your business card, so to speak, on LinkedIn, there's also a new module. This was something that was given very little play on the old profile. It's the activity module. Right? The activity module is populated based on sharing status updates, sharing someone else's status update, other activity when you connect with people, all those sorts of things. All right? This is much more conspicuous than it's ever been. It's right under your profile photo and that business card information. The goal of this is to make the LinkedIn profile less static, more dynamic. All right? If you think of it, before this, our profiles would only change when you got a new job, when you changed the job description, if you went back to school, something like that, you changed your photo. Those actions happen very infrequently. Well, our activity, for those of you who are using it nearly every day, this changes nearly every day. So it makes that a little bit more dynamic and provides some interest and some additional content on the profile. Right? So that's something that's brand new. Now, a lot of the changes that we see in the profile are relevant to the module known as background. Right? And there's a few things afoot here that are worth mentioning. One of the goals here is simply more visually appealing. You'll notice those little icons next to experience and education, skills and expertise, just a little bit of visual interest. Now, one thing that's not shown in this example, but if you go to a user's profile that has the new design, the logo for the company he or she works with will be populated next to that job if there's a logo on the company profile. That's where it comes from. So for those of you who manage company pages, take a look at profiles to make sure that that logo works in both ways, that it works with the company profile and also for the individual profiles at that company. That's a nice little brand bump for your company too, because people will see the logo and think of you. So nice addition there. In addition, excuse me, you can now add media to your LinkedIn profile. Right? You can add videos, you can add white papers, you can add presentations. This is another case where I suggest less is more. Put your best stuff out there. Don't think you have to share absolutely everything. All right? And this is where the skills and expertise module comes in, associated with endorsements. It's part of this background. Right? So this is a very brief look at something that is very substantial. This is where people are going to look to see where you work, where did you go to school, what skills do you have. And there's the potential to make this very robust and add a lot of detail to it. Now, a subtle change with our connections on LinkedIn. Our connections used to be represented just by a number on our profile. Now we see faces, right? I think what LinkedIn understands is we're more likely to interact with people if we see their face. If not, again, trying to get you to spend more time on the site. Do know that you can turn this off if you don't want to expose your connections to the rest of the people that you're connected with. You can turn that off. But again, visual interest, because borrowing interest from those photos and a way to represent faces instead of just a number. Now, this is one that's interesting. LinkedIn has added some different ways of us gleaning insights from our own profiles. One of the things LinkedIn has done is duplicated the people you may know tool. It used to be just on the homepage. Well, it's also now on your profile. I think the thinking here is that LinkedIn believes that when you're updating your profile, you're more likely to connect with people if you see their face and see their potential new connections. In addition, LinkedIn has a new way of talking about profile completeness. This used to be a percentage. I think LinkedIn's trying to have some fun here. You can now be an all-star if your profile is really good. All right. In addition, and this one I do think has a lot of value, is LinkedIn is giving us a way to visually represent different facets of our relationships. Right? What industries do we have connections in? What companies do we have connections with? And now when you go to a user's profile, you can see what you have in common. It will show you whether you have connections in common, whether you have groups in common, and it's presented in a way that's more visually interesting than it used to be. So, better opportunity for us to understand a little bit about what's going on behind the scenes on LinkedIn, on our profiles. Now, LinkedIn giveth and LinkedIn taketh away, so we have to have a moment of silence for a few things that no longer exist. Those things are as follows. LinkedIn has killed off events. LinkedIn events no longer exist. So, you used to have the opportunity to promote an event on LinkedIn and have people say they were coming to an event on LinkedIn. It never really got a lot of traction, and much to LinkedIn's credit, because they're trying to avoid the feature creep thing, they said, we're going to let that one go. All right? Another thing they have killed off is LinkedIn applications. This was the ability to plug in a blog or presentations through SlideShare. You can still do that by virtue of adding media, but it's not as easy as associating an application with your profile. You know, there used to be Amazon Reading List and This, I believe, is associated with LinkedIn recently integrating Quora. Any Quora users out there? Q&A? LinkedIn now integrates Quora. So when that happened, my immediate thought was, why would you have both Quora integration and Answers? LinkedIn Answers was useful because it was a place you could go reach beyond your connections to get answers to virtually everything. But again, to LinkedIn's credit, it didn't get enough traction, so they pulled it off. All right, so those things are now gone, and they're probably not coming back. Now, one of the things that LinkedIn now allows us to do, and this is where we get into that idea of mobile being a lot more robust, is you can now edit your profile on the go. This was not previously possible. You can change things to your profile from the mobile application, recognizing, as you said, that more people are using the tool this way. And of course, I mentioned this earlier, but big change in how people are using LinkedIn. Back in 2011, about 10% were having activity originating from the mobile device. Now about 23% of all activity starts on mobile. This number's only going to go up. I think there will be a time when there will be more activity on mobile devices than there will be on the desktop. Might not be immediate, but it's coming. Now, those are the major changes that I wanted to talk about today. I know that was quick, but I want to hit some of the high points. But there's a few things I want to mention that aren't changing about LinkedIn that I think will be always true of LinkedIn, and they're quite honestly more important to remember than any one of these minor cosmetic changes or one of these minor logistical changes. One of the first things is that LinkedIn is all about your professional life. Right? And so if you focus your efforts accordingly, remember it's an audience that wants to do work. It's an audience that wants to find resources relative to their professional life. They want to get in, they want to get out. Right? And remember who that audience is. It is older, more experienced, more decision-making capacity. This is from the Fortune magazine article. It says 43 years old, makes about $107,000 a year, college educated. About a quarter of all these users are business decision makers. Right? So people who have the ability to make decisions and people who are focused on that. Keep the conversation focused on that and you'll do very well. If you don't, it may muddy the waters and people may think of you for different things you don't want them to necessarily think of you as a professional. Another thing I like about LinkedIn, another thing that will, I believe, always be true, somewhat because of the user's intent, you can be effective in a reasonable amount of time. You don't have to spend hours on LinkedIn to get results, right? And that comes back to this quote by Jeff Weiner where he says, LinkedIn is not a service that enables you to pass time, right? It's not a place where people go to kill time or waste time. It's a place where people go to save time, to connect the dots within their network, figure out who can be a resource to them, do that, and move on to do real work. So, in the last session I shared a sample of how you could use LinkedIn in 10 minutes a day. I'm not a quick fix person, I'm not a shortcuts person, but I really believe that if you are consistent, you can make LinkedIn work in as little as that amount of time. Like most things in life, you put a little more effort in, you're bound to get more out of it, but you don't have to put hours in. And then finally, the one thing, probably the most important thing to remember about LinkedIn, it's all about relationships. This is a tool that is simply designed for you to enhance and manage and nurture the existing relationships you have in your professional life. This goes back to the quote from Reid Hoffman that I really like. He says, the good relationships and alliances you create define your mutual ability to be effective. What he's saying there is that just as I am dependent upon my connections for my success, they are dependent upon me. And if you use LinkedIn that way, if you say, I'm going to approach LinkedIn with the intent of being a resource to my connections, sharing what I know, sharing resources, sharing things that will be helpful to them, and I look for those that will share the same with me, I'm going to have a lot of success. So those things are very much foundational to LinkedIn. They are probably never going to change, and they lead to the opportunities like this. Right? LinkedIn, because it's about relationships, because it's about people serving resources to one another, is a place where real business happens. Right? This is a study HubSpot did about lead generation. What they found is not only is LinkedIn a better place to be if you're looking to convert visitors into customers, but it is better exponentially. Right? So, because you have an audience with specific intent, because you have an audience that it has business decision-making capability, they are doing real work. Right? Now, I want to share with you a blog that I write about LinkedIn. You can find it at linkedinstitute.wordpress.com. Probably the most important piece of information on that blog is the link that says Contact Me. I not only would say that I request you ask me questions, I encourage you to ask me questions. If you ask me a question that's a softball for me, it makes me feel good, it makes me feel like I know something. If you ask me a tough question, then maybe I learned something new but we're probably going to solve it together better than either one of us would on our own. So feel free to ask me those questions as they come up. Now, I want to start that right here. Any questions about how LinkedIn is changing or how it is? Yes?
I work at Mercer University Career Services.
Yes.
And so we have a group page rather than a company page.
Yes.
They, I know, don't have where you can do the vanity link.
Yep.
So what's the best way to try to promote that?
One of the best ways to promote your group, and I'm glad that you even asked about that. A lot of people create if we build it, they will come approach, which you know will work. One of the best ways to promote it is to promote it offline. To make sure, in career services in the office, that there are flyers saying, we have a LinkedIn page that is designed to help students connect with employers, designed to help students find a career path. In addition, depending on how much effort you want to put into it, you can put it in email signatures, all right? If you want to promote it anywhere else you would promote the work that you do, if you're dedicated to sharing content on the career services page, all right? Because the number one way to promote it is by having really good stuff in the group. And if you don't promote it, people go there, they may never come back. So focus first on great content within the group, great conversation, and then promote it anywhere you would promote anything that career services does. I really like Group for career services departments because students are merging in the way they're not there yet. A lot of your college students, and it's a way to help them make that transition, right? To move from social media to more